Superverse, Solana, and Chainlink are the topics of today as we get back to the Altcoin series, which you can find here on Twitter, actually, where I'll be posting about once a week, where you can essentially just request your favorite pet rock or altcoin or whatever you want to call it. And in this case, we're going to start off this one with Superverse, one that we've actually looked at about 2 to 3 months ago when it was trading in about the 40 to 50 cent region. We were saying, hey, look, this one's overall very, very good, but it's likely getting into a period of sideways consolidation, which is what we have seen for the past couple months here. And now there has been yet another one of these buy signals on the Oracle Pro that was in very late January. And this one is still very much active as of right now. We've not hit the take profit metric, nor have we hit the sell metric on this one. So overall, this one likely does continue. The last buy signal was was just biblical, as you can see, as it did essentially suggest a nice long at about 7 cents all the way up to here to 70 cents. Not bad, you might say. Anyways, in this case, this one has fired off another one right here. And so far, so good. But in the more near term, is this one likely to continue? Well, let's put things into perspective by looking at the crown range statistics, which we can go ahead and reference the run-up statistics, which essentially measures the amount of consecutive closures that we typically see, whether they be red or green. In this case, we have seen that typically when Super closes a positive daily, it is followed by another positive daily. That would be the average of 2. On the upper end, we've seen a maximum of 8 positive dailies in a row. Let's put that into perspective right now, because Super has put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working on day number 7 right here. It's being recorded on Super Bowl Sunday, by the way. Super for Super Bowl Sunday. Fucking great, man. Have a super blunt as well in your face. Anyways, it's one day off of the max that you have seen. So, is this one going to have a pullback in the short term? I don't know. Probably yes. But ultimately, the long term is still, this is a breakout more or less. And the long term does still look like it is poised for some more upside. So taking another step on that one, I do want to also put into things perspective. I do want to put things into perspective by fucking getting my English words right for once would be great. And despite my autistic rages, I would like to show that over here on the daily HPDR bands, it is getting into some pretty crazy territories in the more near term. It's at the 95% of historical returns range highs. It is implying that is unlikely to continue significantly from this exact moment. It's more likely to have a little bit of a period of sideways followed by then continuation. But overall, this is a very, very powerful move. So you do expect these higher regions get hit. Next sort of area of interest would be just above $1, 103 to be exact, and above there you got crazy numbers on top of that. Anyways. Now that we've gone through that, let's go ahead and look at a higher term time frame look, and we'll go to the weekly right here. And what do you know? On the weekly, Super is in the process of printing its first green weekly. It's first green weekly. If we are going to look at the run-up stats right here, it typically likes to go for 3 on average. So once you get 1, you're usually followed by 3, or followed by 2 more. For a total of 3 on average. On the upper end, about 5 would kind of round out our 84th percentile. And again, on the maximum here, 8 positive weeklies in a row, which I believe we saw actually from the low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, so very historical right there. And in this case, what am I essentially saying? That if this week, which is closing in about 9 hours, 20 minutes, and 54 seconds, is going to close positively, which it very likely does, you're probably in front of a couple weeks of continuation. So while the very, very short term might have some sideways, might even have a bit of a pullback, higher term timeframes are continuation and do suggest more on top of this. So I guess the question now is, well, how much more? So let's go over here to the 5-day bands. And we do see that the 5-day bands is, holy shit. It's way fucking up there. Is showing current range high, just above $1, about 101 for the next sort of area of interest. And above there, you got somewhere around about 135, 138 region. So things can get, more crazy than they are right now, as this one does continue likely over the rest of the month of February. If we go over here into our, just and do just a Fibonacci retracement analysis, we can see that Super is brushing up against a 618, as you can see, which is basically just below $1. Above there, things can really get going. Things can really, really get going. I'm not saying that it's destined for $2 after that, but I would say, anywhere between about $1.50 to $2 is fair game, realistically. Again, not necessarily all in the same week or in the same month, but over time, as this one does continue upwards and onwards after this nice consolidation being resolved to the upside. I mean, that is continuation by the definition of it. So overall, Superverse looking pretty damn good. As always, there should be some sort of an invalidation, which would be indicative of overall inherent bearishness. And in this case, it's actually pretty damn simple. Look, anywhere back below 68 cents, okay, problems. Until then, up and onwards is the name of the game on the higher term time frames, and it rhymes, so you know that it's true because that's how things work. Anyways, let's move on now to Solana, another one that we've checked in on several times in the past few months. This one, again, we were looking at, or last time we were looking at this one, that I did an actual video on it. I was looking at a likely move down to about 75-ish region. That was when Solana was trading, about a $1.15, $1.20-ish region, and we did get a low of 78.93, so I'm off by a few bucks, which means Crown is wrong, which means you should fucking kill me and hang me and tar and feather me and all that good stuff. And fair enough, I've done terribly. But yeah, anyways, what's interesting about this one as well is that similar to Superverse, it actually has gotten this strong buy signal on the Oracle Pro as well. So, looking at that, okay, fair enough. This one also likely poised for higher prices from here overall. Is it likely to continue exactly today? I'm not necessarily super confident on that. This one also printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working on day number 7 of positive returns. So if we go over here to the range statistics, we can see that puts us actually well above the 84th percentile, and well, the maximum that we've ever seen in a row on this one is actually 9. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working on day number 7. It's getting very, very close to that. So I would say that in the more near term, you're probably getting ready for a pullback relatively soon. Let's see, if we put on a nice Fibonacci retracement, we can see it's kind of oscillating right around the 618. So if it does want to pop back down to $100, that's completely fine. But overall, or actually, probably continues to 114 first, honestly, and then maybe pops back down to like 105. But overall, this one, again, in a pretty good posture here for the long term, as it does put in that first higher low, coming off of the reversal on the daily. Anyways, moving on to the higher term timeframes for Solana, Super Solana. We can see that the 5-day time frame on the last period did reclaim the median. So we have a Senor Bing and Mr. Bong. Now, I don't trust it too much on this one because, Solana hasn't been around for, that long. But it very likely does at least retest prior highs, actually, 125. If we do go by the book here, could it move all the way to the top side of the range at like 150 or 160? I suppose yes, and over time, probably likely. But for right now, one thing before the next. If Solana really starts to break its current high at 126, which, I do think that it will test around there, yeah, okay, 150-ish region, let's just say, give or take a few bucks from that number. And then, of course, if we also look at the run-up statistics for the 5-day time frame, keeping in mind that Solana just printed its first green 5-day, it usually likes to put in an average of 3 in a row. So, maybe another couple of positive 5-day returns. So that actually kind of well, yeah, actually that would likely rearrange my short-term analysis, saying that, hey, continuation first is actually more likely on this one, followed by maybe a pullback and then continuation after that. But overall, looking very, very strong here, as a lot of things actually are. So another one that is very likely poised for more in the coming months. Again, if I want to get super bullish, I'd say somewhere around like 150 to 160-ish region. That would obviously take some time or imply a lot of time being taken. Let's also see where things are at on a greater Fibonacci retracement scale, just to see where the greater picture is. And let me get rid of this one because it's only relevant to the short term. We can see that Solana is actually brushing up against the 786 out of that 126-ish region. So, if Solana actually really does reclaim that region, okay, fair enough. Actually, 150, 160 is going to be very, very likely. Followed by probably just a retest of prior highs, is what I'd say at that point, or at least $200. Again, not all in the same week or in the same month, but over the next half year, I'd suspect, or half year to a year, Solana would be in a pretty damn good positioning. Just like Super, we should have some sort of an area that would, if met, kind of invalidate overall inherent bullishness, and that would very obviously be back down below $95. Anyways, moving on to the last one, Chainlink, another one that we followed up on several times in this channel. In fact, we recently did it this past week, saying that, hey, 20 to 21 bucks is very, very likely, and it looks like that is actually kind of the higher this week thus far, 20.68 thus far. So not bad. Anyways, for Chainlink, we do see, again, for the run-up statistics, typically when you do start printing green weeklies, they come in pairs of threes. Does that make sense? If they come in pairs of threes, that sounds wrong. They come in threes on average. The 84th percentile does go all the way up to 5, and a maximum of 7 in a row have been observed throughout the history of this one. And the reason why I'm bringing this one up is because, well, we just saw our first green weekly on Chainlink last week, and this week also likely to print green. So it's likely to be followed by at least one more green week, I would say. So this one probably continues in the more near term as far as that goes, again, on a weekly closing basis. And if we go over here to our Chainlink weekly HPDR, I do want to call out a couple things. Let me get rid of this for right now. Let's put on our HPDR bands. And we can see that the current range highs on the 50% level is 2175. So that is also actually going to be exactly in alignment, or not exactly in alignment, but very, very close to 618 fib. So I would be cognizant of that region as very likely a pullback region. Doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be a reversal there, but likely a pullback. But this one, just like the other one, you know, there's nothing bearish about this thing as long as it's above $16. I mean, it can pull back and play out shorter term time frame pullbacks, but those are likely to lead to higher lows. Longer term, does this one work its way up, towards the next range highs, probably around 24, 25? I would argue likely yes. In fact, 24, 25 is going to be more or less insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The real area to be aware of is 27.5 to basically 29. That is also your sort of major rejection and failure region from January 2022 on this massive bull trap here before getting ready for massively low prices. So, looking at that, we should also just be aware that the 786 fib is at 32. So longer term, I mean, that's going to be a natural target, but that's going to take a very, very long time, obviously. Just in this case, another one where this one's pretty damn cut and dry. Let me actually circle this off. Accumulation down here, first markup, reaccumulation right here, second markup right there. All right. And how high does it go? Again, in the very, very short term, 21.5, $22 is extremely likely. In the more long term, talking about 6 months to a year down the road, probably looking somewhere around the 786, probably $32 with the stop along the way at that $27.5 marker. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Nice and short and sweet. And to be fair, right now kind of is the time to be looking at altcoins, just because a lot of altcoins been going fucking off, which is good. It means that the market is, well, there's people interested in it back again, I guess. Anyways, yeah. Again, if you want to participate in next week's shitcoin roulette, you can do it over here on Twitter. And of course, I should humbly request that if you do find this content valuable or meaningful or insightful or in any way, shape, or form, I don't know, useful, I guess, please do consider liking and subscribing. And on that note, I'll sign off, and I would like to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.